Have you ever tried a new diet or a new workout plan and wondered, is this really working for me? Well, today we're diving into something called the science of one. It's the super powerful way to prove with actual science what works for just one single person. So let's get into it.
I know, it sounds a little weird, right? Because we usually think of science as this big thing with huge groups and averages. But what if the most important person to study is just one? I mean, this is a huge deal in fields like special education or clinical psychology. Think about it. If a child is getting a new therapy, you absolutely have to know if it's the therapy that's causing the improvement and not just something else entirely. So, how on earth do you prove that? Well, in research, you've basically got two main ways to go. We're all pretty familiar with what's called large N design. That's where you compare big groups of people. But to answer our question, we need to zoom way in and use what's called a small N design. And that focuses on just one or maybe a very small number of people. Okay, so how do we actually do this? The tool that makes all of this possible is the small N design. And trust me, it's incredibly powerful for figuring out what's truly making a difference. The key phrase here, the one you really need to remember, is cause and effect relationship. We're not just talking about seeing a change happen. We're talking about proving that a specific action caused that change in one person. It's science, but it's super personal. Here's a good way to think about it. A large N study, the big group one, that's kind of like a satellite photo of an entire country. But a small N study, that's like having a high-powered scientific magnifying glass to see exactly what's going on with one person's behavior. So to really see how this works in the real world, let's check out this really fascinating experiment that used a method called tootling. Yep, you heard that right. So these researchers wanted to find a way to deal with disruptive behavior in a classroom. Their idea was an intervention they called tootling. It's where students write positive notes about each other. So, the exact opposite of tattling. The big question was, could this simple little act actually make the classroom less disruptive? To find out, they had to start with what's called a baseline phase. Just think of this as the before picture. For a while, they didn't do anything new. They just observed and recorded how much disruptive behavior was happening under normal conditions. And here you can actually see the data from that baseline period. The level of disruptive behavior is, pretty high, and it's kind of bouncing around. This is our starting point. This is normal. All right, next up, the treatment phase. This is the after picture. This is where the researchers basically flip a switch and introduce the tootling. All the while, they keep observing and recording the behavior, just like they did before. And boom, just look at that. The second they start tootling, the disruptive behavior just plummets. It's a really clear, immediate change. But here's the scientific question. Can we be absolutely sure that tootling caused it? To be scientifically rock solid, researchers use this really clever trick called a reversal design. They actually take the treatment away for a bit to see if the behavior goes back to the way it was. Then they bring it back again. And if the behavior follows that pattern perfectly, you've pretty much nailed your cause. Okay, now we're seeing the full story on this graph. You can see the initial baseline, then the big drop with tootling, and look, during that withdrawal phase, when they stopped it, the disruptive behavior shot right back up. Then, as soon as they started it again, bam, it dropped right back down. Now that is some powerful evidence. So when a researcher is looking at a graph like that, what exactly are they looking for? Well, there are three main clues they use to read the data and really understand the story that the numbers are telling. The first, and maybe the most obvious clue, is the level. This is basically just how high or low the data is on the graph. In our tootling experiment, the level of disruptive behavior was high during the baseline and when they took it away, and it was low when they were doing the treatment. A big change in level is a huge, huge signal. But it's not just about how high or low the behavior is. The next clue is all about the direction it's heading, and that's the trend. Is the behavior consistently going up over time, or is it consistently going down? A change in the trend from one phase to the next is another really powerful piece of the puzzle. Here's a perfect example of that. You can see that even though the little data points wiggle up and down from day to day, the overall direction is clearly, consistently moving upwards. That's a trend.
Okay, so we've got the level and we've got the trend, but how much can we really trust what we're seeing? That brings us to our final and maybe most important clue, stability. This is all about how predictable the pattern is. It tells researchers they're looking at a real effect and not just random chance. And this slide just makes it crystal clear, right? The graph on the left is, well, it's a mess. The data's all over the place. It's unstable, and you can't really make any good conclusions from it. But then you look at the data on the right. See that? It's steady. It shows a clear, consistent pattern. That is stable, and that's the kind of data you can actually trust. So when you put all three of these clues together, level, trend, and stability, you get this incredibly clear picture. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about, the power of one.
And this stuff matters a lot. This is the exact method used to check if therapies in clinical psychology are working, to build better teaching strategies in special education. And hey, you can even use these same ideas for yourself to track and improve your own habits and know for sure what's working for you. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. The small n design gives us a real scientific way to understand cause and effect at the most personal level imaginable. It can actually prove what works for just one person.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Whether it's about your sleep, your productivity, or your fitness, what's something in your life that you could start to measure, one observation at a time, to find out what really truly works for you?